Welcome to the Pyramyd Insider. I'm Tyler Patner. Today we're going to be taking a look at Gamo's newest offering, a 10-shot rotary repeating break barrel gun, the Gamo Swarm in 177 and 22 caliber. Let's check it out. So for those of you guys that maybe don't have the historical perspective on a repeating gas piston or spring gun, this is pretty significant. Not really in the fact that it's a brand new idea, because it's not. There have been many other companies, Diana, BSA, Gamo even themselves have done it before, and Mendoza, Theobin. I mean, there are a bunch of different companies that have done repeating either gas piston or spring piston guns in the past. Now, most of those have been underlevers historically. There have been a couple break barrels, but the real revolution here in the way that the multi-shot system works is the actual system, this 10X system that Gamo's come out with. It allows you to see the magazine. That was one of the biggest issues of some of the past models. But when we take a look at this more closely, we'll get more in depth on how it works and why that's significant. But let's take a look at the Swarm Maxxim, some of the other features that are going on this rifle. So the Swarm shares a lot of the same features as the Hornet Maxxim that we've already done a review on. So we'll run through it quickly here. You have the Maxxim Whisper Shroud system here. You got a lot of dead space. It is one of the quieter piston guns we've had on the market, and it does have the IGT gas piston. Got a nice short, snappy recoil for you there. And we're going to glance over this here for just a second here, that 10X system. You do have the RRR recoil reducing rail, which is supposed to cut the felt recoil to the scope by 99%, they claim. When we did the review of the Hornet Maxxim, we found that not to be the case, but certainly something. We've had the stock scopes on here. It's a 3-to-9x40 scope with a one-piece mount setup that comes with it, and we've had no problems with them thus far. Overall, synthetic stock rifle weighs about 6.5 pounds or so, not very heavy, and that is with the scope, just under 7 pounds there. You got the CAT custom action trigger. It is adjustable. And then you got kind of a raised cheek piece here, which is ambidextrous, and then rounding it out with the SWA butt pad here at the back, which does give you a nice cushy feel in the shoulder. So before we get into the meat and potatoes here in this 10X system, I wanted to just show you guys the few outward differences between the 177 and the 22, since we're taking a look at both today. The first thing you'll notice here is that the magazines are two different colors. Just like the BSA PCPs or the Gamo PCPs, you do have a blue for 177 and a red magazine for 22. So something to keep in mind, just to allow you to keep that straight in your head. And then at the back of the gun, we have the Pro Shot ID system from Gamo, which that's that little red and that green band here. Now the red means that it's good for like pest control, target shooting, things like that. The green band means it's more of an out-and-out hunting rifle. So that's how Gamo's classifying them. So you'll see the red on the 177 and the green on the 22. So looking at this 10X system here, this rotary magazine driven system, you'll notice there's a push button here on top. You just simply depress that until you hear the click. The magazine kind of pops up a little and you just pull it out. Now this is a 10-round magazine in both 177 and 22 calibers. We're going to look at the 22 here up close. You got a nice little diagram. So what you're going to do is rotate and hold. So you're just going to get it to that first little spot there. Go ahead and load that up. And you're just going to repeat that for all 10 rounds until it's loaded. And as you load, you'll also notice that here on the top of the magazine, you have a number indicating how many rounds are currently in the mag. And this is going to be very helpful for when we go about shooting it. So now that we have the magazine loaded, you just simply take it and insert it in to the whole housing there on top of the rifle. One big question we've been getting is, does this actually interfere with your scope's line of sight? It does not. You have just enough clearance here, and you will need to use a high mount if you put another scope on it, but there is absolutely no view of this housing in my scope picture. Now this multi-shot system is great and all, but it doesn't really mean anything if the gun's really difficult to cock, because it's going to take you a while to do anyway. But Gamo has managed to keep the cocking effort on this gun very light. It's only about 30 pounds or so. I would actually say it's even under that. And when we put it on the scale here, it was only about 28 pounds. So it registers very low, and obviously that makes it super easy to function quickly. And it goes just like this. You go ahead, you break your barrel, and you just close it back up. Now, there's a little probe inside of this loading system, this 10X system here, that actually is pushing that pellet into the barrel, all right? And then once it's retracted out of the magazine, there's an internal spring mechanism on side of the magazine that actually rotates it once that is removed, because there's an empty space there. Now it's going to flip to the next pellet. So very, very easy to use and very quick. All we do from that point is we go ahead, there's a manual safety on the gun, just like most of the Gamo spring rifles. Now this is the hot position, this is safe, so we're gonna go ahead and flip that off of safe, take aim at our trap, and fire. So now that you guys have seen how the Swarm works and how that magazine system functions, it's important to note the gun can be dry fired even if there is not a pellet left in here. Now, the biggest thing that'll tell you there's not a pellet left in here, you got this little exclamation point that comes up when you're out in the viewing window here to tell you how many rounds left there are. This is gonna be your best friend, okay? You can't not see this, because when you go and break that barrel, it's right in your face, all right? So if you're not paying attention, that's on you, but it would be really hard, in my opinion, to dry fire this. Like I said, you'd have to not be paying attention. But we're gonna obviously go through both the 177 and the 22, see how they do in accuracy, velocity, all of the normal tests that we do here on the Insider. And the biggest thing I wanna show you right now when we head out to the range here is just how much faster this is than your traditional single shot break barrel. So let's head out to the range and check it out. So obviously the Swarm being a multi-shot gun, that's a big advantage, especially for the hunters out there. And that's really for a small game hunter, pest eliminator, that's what you want. This magazine gives you the ability to have quick follow-up shots. Now, the question is though, how much faster is it than your average single shot break barrel like the Hornet Maxxim we have here? Basically the same platform. So what we're gonna show you is how much faster the Swarm actually is. Let's check it out. Still going? You guys can see just how much faster this is. Quick target acquisition, if you're capable of it, of course, but really having the ability to quickly load that second shot in, I mean, that's huge. This is what's gonna make the difference for hunters, pest control guys. This is why the Swarm is significant. So looking over our accuracy results here, out of the 177 first, the Barracuda matches didn't do very well. You know, that group's way too open, but the JSBs here, the 8.4, showed some promise. You know, you got the 4 shots here and then that low one. I mean, could have been me, could have been the gun, could have been a bad pellet. It could be anything. So the one thing I will say is that you don't see the pellet once it's loaded in. So if you have a crimped skirt or something like that, just like on a PCP with a magazine, you might have a bad pellet in that mag. You really don't know unless you're originally loading. But if it gets crimped or something, it could happen. So it could be a flyer. That said, the 22, really impressive. These Predator GTO pellets, that's a dime-sized group right there, 20 yards. This is gonna be good for hunting, pest control, whatever you wanna do with it all day. And then our JSB Exact Heavies, not terrible, maybe a little over an inch here, but you got 4 clustering right in there. Certainly a usable pellet as well. Overall, in testing, we did push things a little bit further off camera, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is like a 25, 30 yard gun. I can't shoot it accurately much past that. Now, your luck may vary, but for me, I'm gonna say 25, 30 yards is gonna be your limit for the Gamo Swarm. So guys, to wrap up the Gamo swarm here, you got the 10X system, obviously that's the big one here. This has legs, guys. This is going to be something that I think we're probably going to see Gamo integrate into some other rifles as well. Had no problems with it here. You know, we put hundreds of rounds through both of these guns. Pretty much flawless performance. I had no hang-ups, no jams, anything like that. So definitely something that is a huge positive from Gamo. One I was a little skeptical of when I saw it at first, but after using it, guys, I'm a believer. This is pretty cool, and this is definitely, I'm going to jump on a bunch of people's backs here and say it's a game changer. As far as a couple cons on the gun, the CAT trigger, not a bad system, but definitely going to need adjusting out of the box for you. You know, just in our two examples here, we had two very different triggers in how they were set up. The only other gripe I have with the gun is that the lightweight makes it a little difficult to shoot, very hold sensitive, but obviously, you know, our 22 shot incredibly well. The 177, not so much. But definitely this is a gun that's going to be viable for the backyard hunters or the guys that are doing pest control out to about 30 yards. I think the Swarm is going to be a perfect option, gives you quick follow-up shots. Definitely one to look for, and hopefully we see this 10X technology on some of their guns in the future. For the Pyramyd Insider, I'm Tyler Patner. We'll see you guys at the next one.